Alright, so we are doing the Holley 5200. We're going to talk about the Holley 5200, and that's the carb that came stock on the Ford Pinto. So if you want to come in a little closer here, I'm going to take apart the carb real easy or real fast because it is so easy. These 5200s have two sections. The top piece, which is the horn. Get these guys off of here. Cut some of this out if I need to. I'm trying to get through all of this all at once so I don't need to cut anything, and you guys can see all the stuff you guys need to see. And you can take a look in here. We have our float here, our power valve, and you know what? I need to take the choke assembly off before I can take that out, but you can back up a little bit. The top piece here, the horn, it houses our float, the top of our power valve, and the fuel inlet. This one has a screw-in type fuel filter, but they all have a fuel filter in the horn as well. You can see that guy right there. And that guy just fits up into there. Make sure I don't misthread that. But to get this off, we're gonna have to take this little pin out. You make sure you don't lose these. There you go, right there. Put that away. Oop, magnetic. And now, excuse me. Now we can bring the choke up and unhook it, trying not to bend it too much. There we go. Just like that. Now that should, oh, you know what, we want to put it on the other side. Come on. I'm going to push the choke down. Why is that not coming? Alright, well, let's see if this will come off this way. Sometimes you gotta mess with these choke flaps as it comes out. There we go. Alright, so you twist that off, and all the screws will fall out. Get those in there. Now we have the one I'm using, and this old one we'll put over there. So the main body of the jet, or the main body of the carb rather, has all of our jets. Two in the float bowl, those are your main jets, and I will pull one of them out and show you. They're just like any other carb jet, very basic. The top of the carb is where our main air bleeds are, right there. I'll make sure I don't lose that guy. And underneath, let's see if I can get this guy out. Underneath live the main well tubes. Now this one doesn't want to come out. Let's see if the other one wants to come out. Because this part is important. If you're having stumbling issues, or if you're having fueling issues, it's all gonna start in the fuel bowl, make its way up through these air wells, and then through all the passages. So let's see. This one wanted to come out yesterday. There we go. And you can come in a little closer here and see what I'm talking about. Underneath, come on now, you know, I got it loose. So underneath here is a little emulsion tube, or the main well tube, and that lives underneath your air bleeds. Right, where'd my other air bleed go? Did I lose that? No, it's right there. I put it in the wrong spot. All right, now the last thing, or the second to last thing, you have your power valve down there, and that's what interacts with this little guy under high load conditions.
Simplify, man!
That'll open up and let a little bit more fuel into the system. So the last thing that you'll have to take apart and clean in here is your discharge nozzle. That's this guy right here. And the primary side right here is drilled out, but the secondary is not. If you have the right size drill bit, you can come in and you can drill that out, drill it out there. I do not have that drill bit, and therefore will not be doing that. You want to be careful when you take that out too, because underneath there are 2 ball bearings. So if you're taking this apart all willy-nilly and you do it on dirt like I am, you might lose those. So now we've taken everything apart. Let's say I soak everything up and now I'm ready to put it back together. Super simple. Or if I want to change some jets out, put this back in. Make sure your discharge nozzle, when you put that in, come a little closer here. When you put that in, you don't want it to butt up against either of these venturis so that it has the right spray pattern. So I'm just going to hold it in place, snug that down, put the well tubes back in, main air bleeds on top, and these are divided right down the middle. So you have your primary side, which is the smaller side. It's a 32 millimeter throttle plate there. And you have your secondary side, that's the 36 millimeter throttle plate. And all of the jets work accordingly. So you have your primary side jets here. Let me screw these in so I don't forget. So you have your primary side, main air bleeds, your secondary side, main air bleeds, primary side, main jets, and secondary side, main jet. And the last jet I forgot to mention is on the outside of the body. Last jet is a removable idle jet, and there's one on either side. I won't take that one out, but they screw in and they also press in. All right, that's all back together. I'm not going to show you how to set your float because they're all a little bit different. I'm not going to show you exactly how to set it, but you just want to get it vertical right to where it's pressing up against this valve in here. There's a little bronze valve back here, or brass valve. And you just want to get it right to where it's pressing up on it, but not where it's depressing it. Just where it's pressing up on it. And then you can make measurements from the top of the float or the bottom of the float to the bottom of that plate right there. Bottom of the casting. All right, so now I'm just gonna put my gasket back on. Put this guy back in. And you know what, while I do that, I wanna make sure, before I do that, I hold my choke assembly up here, that little arm we dealt with earlier. Hold that up. And then you see that slot right there? Right there at the top, top there. That is gonna go in like this. And as soon as you come over here for a second. You see that arm? As soon as it goes into the top there, you just start to twist it. And you might have to hold your float back like that. And just make sure you're not bending anything, and it should slide right in. And then you can deal with the choke arm afterwards. But let's get our screws back in here. Let's get those started. And almost lost a screw. Right, so that's how you take it apart, how you replace all your jets if you need to, and you can clean it, do a budget cleaning just like that, take all the, take the tubes out, make sure you spray some carb cleaner in there, and if you have compressed air, it's always good. If you don't, buy a bike pump. Bike pumps work. Just make sure you get one of those adapters that can fill a basketball. Kind of looks like a needle. And then just put that into whatever your passage you're working on. Trying to clean up. And that'll squirt out some bad stuff. All right, those are all snugged down. You don't want to over snug them. And now I'm going to try to get this choke connected again. There we go. All right. Now that's back in. I'll just put this little clip back in. Make sure I don't forget about that, or else your choke will come undone. Alright, so we went over the inside. Now let me talk about the outside. So you got your throttle linkage right here. It is a mechanical secondary, meaning this secondary throttle plate there will open right when you hit about 2/3 throttle, and then it's progressive, meaning it opens faster than the primary, so they meet at their full open position or wide open throttle. They're both at their maximum. So that's what progressive and mechanical secondary mean. Let's see. The next thing you'll see here is the choke and the qualifier. The qualifier determines how far these are open when the choke is closed. And then your choke here, this one's a water-cooled choke, so coolant goes in one side, goes out the other, and then a bimetal spring in there messes with your choke. I'm not going to tell you how to set it. It's different for everybody. Behind there is a little screw. Let's see if you can see that. Mm-hmm. So that screw right there, that will set your curb idle, which is this position here, right? I'm not going to tell you how to set it. It's different for everybody's engine. The other thing right here, this is your accelerator pump. These are cool. They have a 3-position setting. They have a middle, which is like normal amount of gas. You go down, you get a little bit more gas. You go up, you get a little bit less gas. But now that we've got this all together and all set, and our little tool tray or parts tray is empty, we're gonna take our bolts, put it on the car. All right, so we took apart the car, put everything back together. Now we're gonna put it on the car. So before you put it on the car, you wanna make your initial setting. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna hold open your choke, you open up your throttle, and then you wanna make sure that screw that I talked about earlier is not resting on the idle cam, on the fast idle cam. I called it a curb idle earlier, but now that that is open, I should probably have held this a little differently. You can set your curb idle. So right here, this screw, you want to back that out until it's not touching this plate right here. You back that out, and then once it's just not touching, you want to back it back in 1.5 turns, and that will be the basic setting, and then you can tune it from there. So now you can let go of all that. And the last thing we'll do before we put it on is adjust the idle mixture screw. And you just want to run that in. I do it by my fingers so I don't over tighten it. So run that in until it stops, and then turn it out 1.5 turns. So you turn that out 1.5 and you turn that in 1.5. Now I'm going to get this all linked up here. You can come around here so you can see. So I gotta hold the throttle linkage up. Put that on there. And then get my throttle linkage from the car to sort of slip over. So kind of have to do this halfway. Good to have 3 hands to do this, but there we go. So now that's all slotted in. And once I get this bolted down, we will turn on the car and see how it runs. All right, so the carb is back on the car. I got 2 things to connect to it. If you have a distributor with a vacuum line, there's a port right here. You can come in to see that. This port right here is your vacuum line for your distributor. And then obviously you want to put your fuel line on, and then we'll get this rolling. So the 5200 is on the Pinto now, and it's at the factory setting, 1.5 out for the mixture screw and 1.5 in for the idle screw. And we're gonna turn it on and see how it runs. It'll probably stumble a little bit because we're at the factory settings. We'll have to tweak it a little bit, but let's turn it on and see. So I'm gonna let this warm up for a little bit, and then once it's warmed up, I'm gonna tweak the idle mixture screw, try to get a best idle, and then we can tweak the idle screw. So I'll let this warm up and then we'll get down into the nitty-gritty. Alright, so when I'm tuning this, I'm gonna be tuning at the idle mixture screw. Right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in 1/2 turn, and you can see that that just completely killed the car. So that's 1 turn in right now. So I'm going to go back to my initial setting. That's 1.5 turns out. And then we'll do this again. Okay, so let's check our rev counter here. So we're at 1,000 RPM. Now we'll come over here, and we know that 1 turn in, kills the car. So let's see what 1 turn out does, or 1/2 turn out. Go back to our rev counter, and if you don't have a rev counter, you can just do it by ear. You're just looking for the highest, smoothest idle, and you want to stay within 2.5 turns out on this guy here. So right now I'm at 2 turns. I'm going to go another 1/2 turn. And you notice the change in RPM, so it's kind of bogging down. So I'm going to go back. Let the car warm up, let it catch up. Kind of give it a little gas. And I think that's going to be our best, smoothest idle. turns out. So now I'm gonna go in here and turn that up just a little bit. So I just tweaked my idle screw, maybe a quarter turn. Now let's look at our RPM. Yeah, so we're sitting right about 1100 RPM. Now, depending on what engine you have, you might want a little bit less, you might want a little bit more, depending on what idle screws you're working with, idle jets. You might want a little bit less, a little bit more, but you just got to get out and start tuning your engine. I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you got something out of it. And if you did, let me know. And if you didn't, let me know what you'd want me to cover next time. I can make another video about this, you know. So that's where I'm gonna leave it. I'm not gonna take it on a road test. I know that I did say that I would in some of my short videos, but I've currently got the front clip off and the battery out, and I don't want to put everything back in. I'm also working on the ball joints right now, cutting out the factory rivets. So make sure you tune in next week or the week after for that. And then I'm also gonna do a paint job on the Pinto sometime next month. So make sure you subscribe, like, share the video so other people see, and I'll see you guys then. Peace.